Nice to have you with us as we begin another week of Bruce Hooley shows here on The Answer. Yes, time to get back on that horse again. You got to ride it most likely for 5 days until you get a couple more days off. But we got a lot to get to today, and I can't wait to share with you. First and foremost, at the top of the show, I don't think there's any reason to really panic, even though there is in some areas of central Ohio some unidentified things falling from the sky. They are not, I'm pretty certain, Israeli rockets like those being lobbed into Lebanon today. I think, based upon my rather fuzzy recollection, that is called rain. I think that's what that's called. Rain drops. They won't hurt you. They may just bring your lawn back to life. Although we're going to need a lot more of them than we're getting to do that. June through August, the driest on record in Columbus since the Dust Bowl era, since 1930 to 1933, resulting in what they call a flash drought. I have never heard of a flash drought. Flash, to me, indicates something happened quickly. This did not happen quickly. It just didn't happen at all. It just progressed over time to the point where I don't know when the last time we had measurable rain out where I live is. I see the evidence of it in my apple trees, which are not bearing very much fruit at all this year after a record crop last year. And when I read about agriculture throughout the state of Ohio, I find that I am not alone in that regard. So hope your garden's doing well. Hope you've been watering it. Certainly don't violate local water restrictions and all that. But we're supposed to get some rain today and tomorrow. But we've got quite a ways to go before we make up for the dryness that has been afflicting central Ohio and really most of Ohio. Count yourself lucky if you did not get hit by a car this weekend. That is my takeaway from an array of headlines. You know, they say when it rains, people can't drive, right? That's what they say. How many times have you heard that? You ever try to commute in the morning? Oh, by the way, speaking of commuting, I went on a rant Friday morning about how incompetent the Ohio Department of Transportation is. And Saturday morning, I noticed on my social media, some people were like, hey, you know, you're getting lit up about your rant about Columbus traffic. And I'm like, okay, show me. And so somebody sent me a link to a tweet from a guy who is the press secretary for the Ohio Department of Transportation. Okay. Now, I don't want to embarrass him any more than I already did in my social media response to him. But he was like, oh, what are your specific complaints? And I said, well, we could start with the 4 lanes down to 1 from Marysville and Plain City onto 270 North. We could try maybe explaining 33 out of Canal Winchester trying to get to Columbus in the morning. And then other people started to dive in. And I went on and on and on and on about how ODOT has kowtowed to developers and has let developers ruin most of central Ohio in terms of traffic. And a lot of people finally just told him, you know, you ought to sit this one out. You have no leg to stand on. And they don't. They certainly do not. So now, speaking of cars and speaking of not having a leg to stand on, we had an amazing array of vehicles as weapons. Now, you're accustomed to kids stealing cars and crashing them. That happened over the weekend. Of course, it happens almost every weekend. Last night, 2 14-year-olds and 2 15-year-olds were taken into custody after they crashed a stolen car near the Ohio State House. So they blew through a red light, they got hit, and their vehicle continued for like another 100 feet. So they were going at a very, very high rate of speed. Very fortunate they didn't kill themselves or kill anyone else. But that's not where it stopped. I don't know if I can say after that, but here's just sequential, or not sequential, but just other vehicle-related crimes over the weekend. 2 people hospitalized. Sunday night after 7, an SUV crashed into a home in West Columbus, struck 2 men before crashing into the back of the house. Driver fled the scene. That's a stolen vehicle. I guarantee you it is. Wait, we're not done. This is one of my favorite restaurants. I didn't know there was one in Reynoldsburg, although I'm glad I wasn't eating there last night. O'Charlie's Restaurant in Reynoldsburg, 6:30 p.m. A guy I saw the video of this on the news, and I think it said on the awning outside the O'Charlie's, it said, take out, take out, take out, take home order, something like that. This guy driving this car took it a little bit too seriously. He drove right into the restaurant. And he injured 12 people. 8 of them were taken to the hospital. Fortunately, there was one of those quickie medical centers on site that a couple of people walked to. No life-threatening injuries. Very fortunate there. You go out for a meal, and you just about get run over. And then, just after midnight Sunday, this is not in Columbus, it's in Thornville, which is in Licking County, a 24-year-old guy from Westerville drove his car into several tents at the Lost Lands Music Festival. What's that about? Did he lose his place? I have no idea what this is about. But look, we have 10,000 car thefts a year in Columbus, Ohio, and we have juvenile judges and judges who do nothing, and a Franklin County Prosecutor's Office who does nothing to punish it. We just typically don't have this many weird and strange occurrences in a weekend, but that is how it went down this past weekend in Central Ohio. We also had garden variety normal weekend headline, 1 person shot dead on Columbus's far west side. They've got the suspect, he's 22, Jose Angulo Ramos. Legal, illegal? I don't know. What are your bets? What were the numbers last week? We have 48,000 illegals in Columbus, Ohio. We stand by to see if Jose Angulo Ramos is legal or illegal in terms of his citizenship. He's very illegal in terms of shooting someone. And that is what he is being charged with by Columbus police. Now, we're fortunate we're not writing about another premature death this morning. This is scary. Hilliard Local Schools has closed 4 schools this morning after a student was stabbed at about 7:15 near the intersection of Bathgate Street and Springfield Boulevard. The student who was stabbed was taken to Nationwide Children's Hospital. They're in stable condition. Suspect fled the scene. Police actively trying to find them. So obviously, unless this was a totally random thing, and it could have been a totally random thing. Or it could have been something that, happened because these two had a beef, or who knows what it is. But we're just glad at this point in time that nobody is, I can't say they're not seriously hurt. If you're stabbed, you're seriously hurt. Scary situation for the parents of this young victim. And we certainly wish Hilliard Police well in their attempts to bring the person who did the stabbing to justice. I mentioned at the top of the show that Israel is lobbing rockets into Lebanon, 300 airstrikes. They are not messing around, nor should they be messing around. When you have between 60,000 and 100,000 of your residents displaced, imagine if you lived in Sandusky and Michigan was like lobbing rockets into the state of Ohio and you had to evacuate Sandusky and all the surrounding areas, and you couldn't go back home for the better part of a year, almost a year, October 7th. This displacement of Israeli citizens started after the Hamas attacks on October the 7th. They haven't been able to go home, and the Iranians have been funding this. They've been funding the Hamas terrorists. They've been funding the Houthis, who have shut down the Red Sea. They've been funding Hezbollah and our addled, mush-brain president, and his incompetent vice president refuses to do anything. I know what you're thinking. You're going, wait a minute. Who are you talking about when you say his addled, incompetent vice president? Are you talking about Kamala Harris? Are you talking about Dr. Joe Biden? Did you see Friday's cabinet meeting? First one since October. First cabinet meeting since October. Like, how many headlines could we put together? I used to work in sports radio in Cleveland when the Browns were when the Browns were really bad. Maybe I don't need to specify that after yesterday's result. And I used to tell my producer, we need to make a list of stupid stuff the Browns do so we can refresh it, because they always top themselves with doing stupid stuff. We need, in the same vein, I need to keep a better list of all the stupid things the Biden administration does that just go unnoticed because they're always doing more stupid things. How egregious is it that the president of the United States has not held a cabinet meeting since a year ago in October? Then he holds one Friday, and he starts by throwing the meeting to the person sitting at the head of the table, which, I think is pretty much the person who's in charge of the meeting is the person sitting at the head of the table. And it's Dr. Jill Biden sitting at the head of the table. And she talks more than he does. Of course she does, because she can be understood. He couldn't. I'll prove it to you next.
This afternoon, mostly cloudy, not as warm, but humid, a shower and a high today, 79. Overcast, mild, a shower in spots tonight, low 65. Clouds and humid, shower and a heavy thunderstorm tomorrow. That could bring some downpours, damaging wind, even an isolated tornado possible, the high 78. Clouds, a shower in spots on Wednesday, and a high again at 78. Cloudy and a bit warmer Thursday with some rain and a high near 81. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not an offer. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 1,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-885-3333. That's 800-885-3333. 800-885-3333.
Before the most pivotal election of our lifetime, the Battleground Talkers Tour comes to Columbus. Be a part of the critical conversations that will influence the direction of America. See Bruce Hooley, Hugh Hewitt, Mike Gallagher, Larry Elder, and special guests live on stage Tuesday, October 22nd at Genoa Church in Westerville. The Battleground Talkers Tour. Tickets start at just $5 and are available now at 989theanswer.com.
Dennis Prager here. Join me on an unforgettable cruise to the Caribbean this November. We'll cruise to the vibrant islands of Half Moon Cay, Curacao, Bonaire, Turks and Caicos, and much more. We'll be joined by special guest Sean McDowell, and we'll both be sharing insights into current events in a way I hope energizes and challenges you. Secure your spot before space runs out by calling 855-565-5519 or book online at PragerCruise.com.
War has played a key role in the history of the United States, from the nation's founding right down to the present. Wars made the United States independent, kept it together, increased its size, and established it as a global superpower. Hi, I'm James Early, host of the Key Battles of American History podcast. In each episode, I discuss American history through the lens of the most important battles of America's wars. To start listening now, go to ParthenonPodcast.com or search Key Battles of American History on your favorite podcast platform.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel. Home to the biggest shows on TV, like Dennis Prager, weekdays at noon Eastern, followed by Jay and Jordan Sekulow at 2. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free now on Sumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/sumo.
Hey, everybody's looking for a bargain, right? You have to in this economy. Well, if the bargain you are searching for might have something to do with you getting a better night's sleep, then listen up. MyPillow.com, a website where you've been able to get just outrageous savings over the past few years because Mike Lindell responded to cancel culture, shoving his products off store shelves by realizing that, hey, if I don't have to pay store shelf stocking fees, I can take that cost out of the price that I charge my customers and lower my prices. That's how the MyPillow itself went from $80 when I bought mine 8 years ago to like $25. But right now, that MyPillow is $14.98. Another big box store thought they'd get wise with Mike Lindell and hurt his business. But you know what? His business just keeps going up because the more they try to cancel him, the more you benefit as a consumer. So go to mypillow.com, get a standard MyPillow for $14.98. Make sure you use my promo code Bruce for that pricing. mypillow.com, promo code Bruce. There are 4 months left before we get a new inhabitant of the White House, either Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. Man, I sure hope it's Donald Trump and not Kamala Harris. But right now we have Joe Biden in the White House. And Joe Biden, as I said, held his first cabinet meeting Friday, first time in 11 months. I was kind of under the impression that cabinet meetings were important. They must really not be that important. If you only need to hold one a year, they must not really be that significant. Because, I mean, everything's going so well, right? I mean, the economy's rolling. Gas prices are low. We got no wars out there on the international stage. There's nothing threatening to our safety going on in, say, Europe or the Indo-Pacific, or, I don't know, the border seems to be totally under control. Right? Right? At any rate, they did hold a cabinet meeting on Friday. And Joe Biden opened it up, which you would expect. He's the man in charge, correct? Well, he's the man in charge until he decides that he's going to throw it to the person in the room who really has the power.
Heard that clapping, it wasn't for me. We came in, and here across previous administration, first ladies have attended these meetings for specific reasons. This is the first time Jill has joined us, and it goes to show how important the issue is, which she's about to speak to the both of us. Today, at the top of our meeting, Jill's going to give an update on the House initiative, White House initiative, to fundamentally change the approach and the fund, how we approach and fund women's health services. So I'd like to turn it over to Jill and for any comments she has, and it's all yours, kid.
You know, sometimes the White House surprises you.
Well, that's for doggone sure. Sometimes the White House does surprise you, like her heading the White House cabinet meeting, or like her signature appearing on the outside of the presidential cover letter, I guess, or the cover page, like when he issues a proclamation or something like that. It's surrounded by, like, you know, kind of a folder type document, and it has the presidential seal on it, and then it has his signature on it. Now it has his signature on it, and underneath it has her signature on it. Hello? What? Who? I know. She did get exactly the same number of votes as Kamala Harris got in the primary. So maybe, you know, I'm insisting on something, purity of the office, democracy, all those things the Democrats talk about. Maybe I'm insisting on something that's intemperate. Now, after Friday's meeting, Joe Biden had a busy weekend. No, not at the White House. He didn't have a busy meeting at the White House. After all, he goes to one of his Delaware beach houses every weekend. And this weekend, he was in Wilmington, Delaware, for his annual meeting of the Quad. The Quad, if you don't know what the Quad is a meeting of the prime ministers of India, Japan, and Australia. Now, you might ask yourself, why is a meeting like this with 3 world leaders taking place in a dump like Wilmington, Delaware? Well, it's because Jill Biden needed the White House. Jill needed the White House to host a party. I'm not kidding. She was hosting a party on Friday for the cast of the defunct television show, The West Wing. How many years since The West Wing has been on TV? I don't know. I don't care. But Jill Biden thought it would be a great idea to throw a party for the leader or for the actors and actresses in The West Wing. And then Saturday night, she had another big soiree on the South Lawn. She hosted the first ever back to school night at the White House to celebrate the start of the new school year with educators, students, and families. So the prime ministers of Australia, Japan, and India, 3 people who lead nations with a combined 2 billion people, were schlepped off to Delaware, where Joe Biden met with them, or at least he met with 2 of them. And then he got up to introduce the 3rd one. And, well, this is what happened. Hold on a second. We got some audio issues here. We got a computer that I can't figure out how to get the volume up on. So let me try this one more time. So he's introducing a prime minister, one of 3, at his Delaware beach house over the weekend.
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next?
Who am I introducing next?
Who's next?
Who's next?
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
Yes, that would be the Prime Minister of the Republic of India. Joe Biden totally forgot his name. Joe Biden was barking at his staff. Who's next? Who's next? He could not remember a world leader who he had to come to Delaware because Jill Biden was hosting events at the White House. This is the guy in charge for 4 more months. This is the guy in charge while the Houthis shut down shipping in the Red Sea. This is the guy in charge while the longshoremen on the East Coast threatened to shut down all shipping on the East Coast by striking this week, putting Joe Biden in a pickle, if his brain isn't already a pickle itself, where he has to determine, do I tell them they have to go to work so that inflation doesn't jump again, so that the American economy doesn't grind to a halt with no shipping on the East Coast and people on the West Coast involved in the shipping industry who won't cross picket lines because of their brethren on the East Coast? Or do I endanger the union vote for Democrats by ordering them back to work? He seems fully capable of making that decision, don't you think?
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. Israel's military describes them as extensive. The airstrikes it's carried out on Hezbollah in Lebanon following the terror group's attacks on northern Israel. Israel says it struck several hundred targets.
When I can't get audio to play, like,
what about over here? Is it over here now?
it's just, I have to crank this all the way up so people can hear it on the air. And then when I come back, I blast people out.
Okay, just turn that up a little bit there.
This?
Yeah. And then click on that where it says Sound Blasters there. Yeah. Speakers. Now go up to audio. Yeah.
So let's see how this sounds. No, like there's nothing. Like, where is it?
Are your headphones on?
No, my mic's off. I don't know who comes in here and screws with this stuff.
Let's make sure that. How much time do we have to do?
We just went to break.
Okay. Let's do mixer. Systems, speakers.
I turned that up.
Let's go with the output. There's the input. Should be. Let's go 80. I'm not sure why it would be lower than that. All right. When you hit play over here, any levels or anything?
Yes, I am. But we're going to do everything we can to keep the wider war from breaking out. And we're still.
All right, I'll try it. It's a little bit better, but
crank it up.
No, that's fine. No, I don't. I mean, I don't know who did anything to it. I didn't do anything to it. Josh wasn't in here Friday. Somebody was in here messing around with it because it was fine Friday when I left.
Okay.
So, thanks.
Yep.
You can shut that.
You can turn that up if you want even more.
Okay.
Faster and staying asleep longer. Thanks to its proprietary ingredient stack, mornings feel refreshing, not like a groggy wake-up call. This is a simple, zero-effort addition to any nightly ritual. Simply mix Dream into hot water or milk, then froth and enjoy. Try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder for yourself and enjoy this limited-time offer of up to 35% off when you go to shopbeam.com/America and use the code America at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/America and use the code America for up to 35% off.
The Tilton family at Tilton's Automotive Service has been serving our community with state-of-the-art equipment for nearly 35 years. From oil changes to detailing to complete engine replacement, we're here to serve you to the highest levels and make you part of the family. All our repairs are backed by a 36-month, 36,000-mile warranty. Check out our mobile app for discounts and specials. Tilton's Automotive Service, in the shadow of Anheuser-Busch in Columbus and just off Creekside in Gahanna. For more info, check out tiltonsauto.com. Take it to Tilton's.
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 98.9theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, TuneIn, or iHeart.
Mark your calendar, October the 22nd, Genoa Christian Fellowship in Westerville. It will be the latest 98.9 The Answer station events called the Battleground Talkers Tour. We will have some national hosts in from Salem, Larry Elder, Mike Gallagher, Hugh Hewitt. We will have Jack Windsor, host of the Windsor Report, on stage with those gentlemen. Some political figures, some running for office, others who already hold office, and I will be there to greet you all. So we hope you'll join us. Tickets are $5 general admission. What a bargain. $5. Go to 989theanswer.com and get your tickets today. You wouldn't want to get shut out, would you? No. Now, if you really want to have an experience, you can join us for the VIP meet and greet before the show. I don't know how I got in. It's for VIPs, but somehow they let me in. So if you'd like a discount on that ticket, which gets you food and handshakes and schmoozing and all the things that go along with being a VIP, use the promo code Bruce25 at 989theanswer.com when you buy your tickets. That's Bruce25 at 989theanswer.com. So Israel's not messing around. They are certainly taking aim at Hezbollah in the north, trying to get their residents perimeter where they can go back and live in the houses they lived in before Hamas invaded the southern part of Israel on October the 7th. And look, I mean, this will be over real fast, right? I mean, it'll be over really, really fast because first of all, Joe Biden over the whirring helicopter blades is all over this crisis in the Middle East.
Yes, I am, but we're going to do everything we can to keep the wider war from breaking out. And we're still pushing hard.
Well, he's a Democrat, so he's doing everything he can, and he's pushing hard, pushing really, really hard. Now, I personally think what they should do is they should send Kamala Harris over there. And they should get Kamala in a room with Sinwar, if he's still alive, the leader of Hamas. They should get the Houthis in there, get the Hezbollah in there, maybe bring the Iranian mullahs in there. And Kamala should stomp her foot and say, we have to have a deal. We have to have a deal, right? I mean, that's just her response to this whole thing. Whenever she's asked about it, it is, we got to have a deal. I want a deal. We have to have a deal. Won't that solve the problem? I mean, who could say no to somebody with her manner, her commanding presence in the room, her charisma? If you doubt that she has major chops on the world stage, just listen to this answer that she gave Oprah Winfrey last week about her vast experience with leaders around the globe.
I've met over 150 world leaders, presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and kings. And the thing about representing the United States of America, we have historically and traditionally been able to walk in those rooms, chin up, shoulders back, with the self-appointed and earned authority to talk about the importance of democracies. People around the world are watching right now.
Oh, yes.
Because you see, the thing about walking into a room and being a role model is people watch what you do to see if it lines up with what you say.
Kamala Harris, role model. She has command in those situations. Donald Trump clearly does not. I mean, you know, showing one of the Taliban leaders a picture of his house and saying if a hair on the head of an American soldier gets harmed, I know where you live. That doesn't carry any weight on the world stage. Man, we're awash in sarcasm here this morning, aren't we? She is, you know, there are two levels of ignorance. There's one level of ignorance in not knowing. And then there's another level of ignorance in not knowing what you don't know. And she's guilty of both. She is guilty of both. What will the world look like if she gains power, further diminishes the morale of our military, further cuts the military budget, further empowers Iran, which funds terrorism around the world, further alienates Israel, the only democratic country in the Middle East and our only true ally in the Middle East. Putin invaded Ukraine because of Biden's fecklessness withdrawing from Afghanistan. He saw weakness and he seized upon it. You think China is not watching the results of this American election? If Trump wins, you know, China, they might move quickly after November the 5th, because there'll be a lag time in there, and our country will be, you know it, and I know it, our country will be burning to the ground with these idiots who think that Donald Trump is going to end democracy. I'm sorry, was he president once before? Do we still have the exact same form of government we had before? Yes, we do. Will we have that exact same form of government in 4 years if Kamala Harris wins? I sure hope so. How certain am I? Are they not on record saying they would? And this is not like underlings in the party. This is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris saying that they want to screw with the Supreme Court and they would love to pack it. They would like to get rid of the filibuster in the Senate if they continue to have control of it. They would like to get rid of the Electoral College. They would like to make D.C. and Puerto Rico states, thus giving them 4 more states. They would like to give the vote to all the illegals that they've allowed into the country, the bulk of whom are in Arizona and Texas and California. They already have California, but if they ever get Texas, forget winning the Electoral College ever again. Forget it. So, yeah, I don't have any optimism about our country remaining the country that we have if Kamala Harris gets into the White House. And I don't have any optimism about the world remaining a Well, it's not a stable place now, but it was when Donald Trump was in office. Unless you think that the problems in the Middle East are not the creation of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, listen to General Jack Keene's assessment of what's going on in the Middle East right now.
I think President Biden's strategic failure is the Middle East. And from the very beginning, appeasing the Iranians, not confronting them, backing away from the Trump sanctions, which had a huge impact on the Iranians financially, stiffen the Arabs, which he did right in the first couple of months of the administration. I mean, he's since changed that in terms of relationship with the Arabs, but the hands-off approach to Iran has been a huge strategic failure. You can see their aggressiveness. We have Hamas and what they've done for the last year or so. We have Hezbollah, and Iran's Houthis proxies have shut down the Suez Canal. They have been firing ballistic missiles at Navy ships, U.S. Navy ships, and we have not gone after the Iranians for doing something like that. That is appalling. He's got his hands tied, and he doesn't want to confront them. It's a huge strategic failure, and it's no wonder the Middle East is lit up the way it is.
And never forget, in the last presidential debate, Kamala Harris said that there were no American troops in combat zones around the world. We've had 2 Navy SEALs killed in one accident, 3 others killed in another, no, not accident, it's an attack. The Houthis are lobbing rockets and weapons at our ships every single day. We are well over 100 attacks in the Middle East and at military outposts of the United States of America in countries in the Middle East. And she is either so stupid she doesn't know, or she thinks you're so stupid you don't know, that she repeats that lie in an ABC debate and nobody calls her on it. Nobody calls her on it. If you're serving in one of those areas and you are under constant threat, you never know. You close your eyes at night, you don't know if you're going to be able to open them in the morning. And she says that, that's your future commander-in-chief? Imagine the thanklessness of serving in a military like that. Now, I've said many times on this show, I'll continue to say many times on this show, if you're on a side opposite Israel, you are on the wrong side. Have you ever been struck? If you're a person who reads the Bible, ever read the book of Revelation, you ever read that book, you notice the United States of America, not mentioned. Not mentioned. So how do we go away? And what would precipitate us going away? And it's not hard to envision how we would go away if you put a person like this and the people around her in charge of consequential decisions that could decide the future of our country and whether or not there is a world war that could reestablish the world order, which right now still has, albeit shakily, the United States at the top. When you walk away from God, when you walk away from the truth of God, when you walk away from his principles like first and foremost truth, and you instead start to prize and position your own partisan viewpoint as what you should chase and what you should elevate, well, then you experience the kind of consequences that America could experience.
Cloudy, not as warm, but humid as shower and high. Today, 79. Overcast, mild, a shower in spots tonight, low 65. Clouds and humid, shower and a heavy thunderstorm tomorrow. That could bring some downpours, damaging wind, even an isolated tornado possible, the high 78. Clouds, a shower in spots on Wednesday, the high again at 78. Cloudy and a bit warmer Thursday with some rain and a high near 81. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
ProView Remodeling, Central Ohio's one-stop residential remodeler specializing in the best sunrooms, windows, doors, decks, siding, patios, porches, motorized screens, and more. Call ProView Remodeling today and get 60 months, 0 interest, or 25% off. Call 7 days a week, 614-756-3140. You win with ProView, 614-756-3140, or go to ProViewRemodeling.com.
They come here illegally, crossing our southern border. Then Sherrod Brown rolls out the welcome mat for them here in Ohio. Brown voted to give amnesty to 11 million illegal immigrants, including those convicted of crimes like drunk driving, aggravated assault, and child abuse. And Sherrod Brown voted 10 times to protect sanctuary cities in Ohio, which released dangerous illegals back onto the street, making Ohio's neighborhoods less safe. And while we struggle to make ends meet, Sherrod Brown is voting to give illegals taxpayer-funded benefits, like health care for illegals granted amnesty, Social Security, COVID relief checks, even a program to fly Haitian migrants into Ohio airports, all paid for by you, the taxpayer. You think you know Sherrod Brown? Well, after 31 years in Washington, Sherrod Brown's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Hi, my name is Elisa Shaw, and I have been a patient at Revive for almost 4 years. When I came to Revive, I was suffering from severe migraines and autoimmune disease and scoliosis. I can tell you today that I'm off of my daily medication for migraines. My autoimmune symptoms are almost non-existent, and I've lost 20 pounds. I'm so thankful for Revive. So check out Revive today and make an appointment as soon as you can.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Brendan Schreiner with Revive Your Health Radio. Like Elisa, I once struggled with health issues that traditional doctors just couldn't help me with. Now my mission as a chiropractor and lifestyle expert is to revive your health. Schedule your first visit by calling 614-781-8808 or visiting our website at revivechiro.com. That's revivechiro.com.
Hold off on purchasing your first order from Balance of Nature because I have an important announcement. If you go to balanceofnature.com to buy their popular fruit and vegetable supplements, a discount offer will pop up. It may say 20 or 25% off your first order. Don't click that. Use my code to get a much better offer. 35% off your first order plus free shipping. My special code is GORKA. Use that and save big. And here's another bonus. Balance of Nature has a risk-free money-back guarantee. So go ahead and find out for yourself what I already know. There's no other product like Balance of Nature when it comes to fruit and vegetable supplements. Use my promo code GORKA to get this special offer of 35% off and free shipping. You can call them 800-2468-751 and use discount code GORKA or order online at balanceofnature.com. Promo code GORKA.
Well, I saw a story this morning that a certain kind of milk, I think it's Lactaid, is being recalled. It's not uncommon, right? You see all kinds of products that get recalled. Why does that happen? Because of what's in the product, right? It's deemed to be toxic. Well, if you don't want toxic products in your refrigerator or in your medicine cabinet or in your laundry room, you would like to take out of the equation the possibility that maybe what you're using to brush your teeth or rinse your mouth with mouthwash or clean your clothes might be toxic, then I would highly suggest that you investigate PatriotSwitch.com products. A company that makes everything it sells. How rare is that? They make everything they sell. They ship it right to your front door. It contains no toxins, anything that can harm you because it's all made from plants. And best of all, it's a family-owned company, not a big conglomerate like Unilever or Monsanto or Procter & Gamble. PatriotSwitch.com/Bruce to find out more. PatriotSwitch.com/Bruce to find out more. So I've followed politics for a fair amount of time. I've never had a feeling about an election like this one. I was dreading Hillary Clinton presidency and dreading a Joe Biden presidency. Thankfully, we did not get the former. Unfortunately, we did get the latter. I've never dreaded a presidency more than a Kamala Harris presidency because we have, we have degraded as a country since Hillary Clinton ran for president. And of course, we've degraded as a country since Joe Biden became president because Joe Biden was calling the shots. But when I talk about degrading as a country, I'm talking about degrading morally. And a couple of buddies and I were having this conversation at church yesterday. And someone suggested that this went back to Barack Obama. And I said, well, yeah, of course it did go back to Barack Obama. But if you think about it, when Barack Obama ran for president in 2008, he wouldn't even say publicly that he was in favor of gay marriage. He wouldn't say it publicly. And so we are now, what, 16 years since that point in time, where look at how far left, how far down the drain we have gone as a country, where the LGBTQ community has forced into normal, acceptable standards gay marriage, gay adoption, transgenderism, on and on and on and on. And, you know, hey, we're a democratic country. We vote. I get it. But there are some areas where we descend as a country that, though carried by votes in states like the abortion thing here in Ohio, gambling here in Ohio, legalized marijuana here in Ohio. We're a red state. We're a red state with supermajorities. All three of those things got passed. They're demonstrations of a couple of things. Demonstrations of the fact that the left is really good at winning political battles. Demonstrations of the fact that they never give up, even when the battle is seemingly unwinnable, like it would be in a state with supermajorities. And inarguable demonstrations of the fact that we are moving further and further and further away from the truth of God and how he would have us to live. And you look at the way abortion is portrayed as an issue in this election and the words that it is bathed in, freedom, liberty, bodily autonomy, all those kinds of things. It's just a further demonstration of the fact that the Democratic Party has no attachment to truth, because truth is an impediment to their continuing access to power and expansion of the power that they have. There's a dinner in New York on October the 17th that presidential candidates traditionally attend. I think only twice since 1960 have both presidential candidates not attended it. It is put on for Catholic charities in the New York City area. It raises millions of dollars every year. It's the Al Smith dinner. I don't know who Al Smith was, but it raises millions for Catholic charities. Kamala Harris will not attend this year. Now, other pro-abortion presidential candidates have attended in the past. And this is not a dinner where she has to sit down and answer tough questions about policy. Out of respect for the parishioners who go and for those who put it on, the presidential candidates go and they both are given license to make some light remarks about the other, maybe take a few jabs at each other, but not turn it into a politically partisan event. Kamala Harris won't go, and there are two reasons why she won't go. Number one, she's terrified of having to speak off prompter because she's horrible off prompter. And number two, she doesn't want anything to do with any kind of religion unless it's the touchy-feely, no specifics. I don't want to marry my positions on the issues to my faith. She's rampantly, unabashedly, bloodthirstily for abortion. At any stage, she won't say it, but it is absolutely her position on abortion. So it would be awkward for her to have to go to the Al Smith dinner. It would also be awkward if you were someone who had an elevated position in the national media and you chose to weigh in on how ungodly, unchristian, and evil Kamala Harris's position is on abortion. It would be very uncomfortable. Maybe your livelihood would depend on it. I don't know if Tony Dungy's livelihood as a commentator on Football Night in America depends on it, but Tony Dungy doesn't care. And this is the epitome of courage. Tony Dungy last Thursday, after Kamala Harris tweeted, "One does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree the government and certainly Donald Trump should not be telling a woman what to do with her body." 90 minutes after that tweet came out, Tony Dungy posted on his social media, "Dear VP Harris, I hear you make this statement all the time. Exactly what faith are you talking about when you say you don't have to abandon it to support abortion? Are you talking about the Christian faith that says all babies are made in the image of God? That's from Genesis 1:26. That God places them in the womb? That's Jeremiah 1:5. And that we should not take any life unjustly? It's Luke 18:20. Are you talking about that faith or some nebulous general faith that says we're good enough and smart enough to make our own decisions? What faith are you talking about? Now, I'm curious to know how NBC handles this, because I'm sure they're going to get a ton of pushback. But Tony Dungy, has he piled up enough goodwill throughout his years? Does anybody doubt that Tony Dungy is a good man? He could have easily ignored this, but there are a few courageous people out there with platforms to gain notoriety for pushing back on this utter nonsense. And there are also a plethora of cowards out there, like LeBron James, who I remember in 2016 said that he was voting for Hillary Clinton because she cared about the kids. She didn't care about the kids who she would unabashedly abort. But LeBron James wouldn't address that. Now, how is this playing out on social media? Harris's comment attracted 46,000 likes. Dungy's got 104,000. Harris's post got 10,000 reposts. Dungy's got 21,000. So this doesn't mean that more Americans are anti-abortion, sadly, than are pro-abortion. But it means that when someone with a platform takes a courageous stand, it motivates others to affirm that stand or to perhaps take a stand for themselves. So that's fantastic from Tony Dungy. And look, it's a very simple question for Kamala Harris or for any Democrat. It is never asked by any debate commentator anywhere. That's why I think if Donald Trump would acquiesce to a second debate with Harris, a third presidential debate, it should be a town hall format where he can ask the questions, where when she tries to knock him on abortion, he should just say, tell me when life begins. When does life begin? Don't couch it with any freedom, reproductive, blah, blah, blah. When does life begin? When does that baby that you want to abort, when is that baby alive? She won't have an answer.
We've been witnessing troubling signs that we're on the cusp of a major economic bust. High inflation, growing national debt, and global uncertainties are all flashing warning signals. Are you prepared for what's coming next? I'm Lance Wallnow, Christian news analyst. The Bible tells us that the wise man sees danger coming and takes precautions. By diversifying into gold with my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group, you can protect your God-given assets through both stable and turbulent times. Gold has been a trusted store of value for thousands of years, weathering economic storms that have wiped out other forms of wealth. Here's the best part. With the help of Birch Gold, you can convert your 401k or IRA to a gold IRA, tax-free and penalty-free. To learn more, text the word FAITH to 989898 for a free info kit on gold. Take the next step to secure your financial future before these warning signs turn into a full-blown crisis. Text FAITH to the number 989898 now for your free gold IRA info kit. Birch Gold Group is the only company I trust. There's no obligation. So text FAITH to 989898, and I pray this information helps you achieve prosperity and peace of mind.
Find us at 989theanswer.com. Download our apps. Stream us 24/7. WTOH and WTOH HD1, Upper Arlington, Columbus.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. World leaders gathering in New York this week for the UN General Assembly. Julie Walker reports.
More than 140 world leaders will attend the United Nations General Assembly in New York this week, including President Biden, who speaks Tuesday, along with Iran's new president. The leaders of Israel, Lebanon, and Ukraine speak later in the week. Russian President Putin is not attending, instead sending his foreign minister. Ahead of the start of the GA, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says international challenges are moving faster than our ability to solve them. Wars around the world, especially in Gaza and Ukraine, and the growing possibility of a wider Mideast war are expected to dominate many of the speeches. Julie Walker, New York.
Also at townhall.com, a search is underway for the shooters who killed 4 people and injured 17 others in a weekend shooting. It happened at a popular night spot in Birmingham, Alabama. Authorities say they do believe the shooting late Saturday was a paid hit on one of the victims. They did not report any arrests as of early today. Officials offering rewards totaling $100,000 for information. Vice President Harris pushing for another debate, but former President Trump says no. White House correspondent Greg Clugston.
On Sunday, Harris urged Trump to accept a proposal to debate on CNN on October 23rd. She said that they owe it to the American people to meet once more before Election Day. But Trump is declining, citing the start of early voting in some states. He told a rally on Saturday that it's just too late to hold a debate 12 days before Election Day, which is November 5th. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Stocks continuing their winning ways from last week. The Dow up 20 points, the Nasdaq adding 49. More at townhall.com.
This afternoon, mostly cloudy, not as warm, but humid, a shower and a high today 79. Overcast, mild, a shower at spots tonight, low 65. Clouds and humid, shower and a heavy thunderstorm tomorrow. That could bring some downpours, damaging wind, even an isolated tornado possible, the high 78. Clouds, a shower and spots on Wednesday, high again at 78. Cloudy and a bit warmer Thursday.
Sorry for the late sign off. I really appreciate you guys joining. I hope you'll come back tomorrow. We'll start at 11:05, and I really thank you for your attention today and every day. Thanks. Have a great day.